Good morning, Commissioner. I got a couple of questions on the change to the cannabis tax. But first of all, where is the cannabis tax receipts compared to what was projected?
You know, I don't have the specific numbers offhand, but they are obviously much lower than originally projected because we just haven't seen the rollout that we originally anticipated. I think that, the state has prevailed in some of the more recent legal challenges and that we're in a position to start rolling out licenses faster. And I remain of the belief that the best way to combat the illegal market is to have a robust legal market. So I'm excited that we seem to be gaining momentum on the legal stores.
Very slowly gaining momentum, in my opinion, and really getting no traction on, frankly, eliminating the illegal sticker shops that are out there, at least in communities that I represent. It's very embarrassing from where I sit as a state legislator when I'm in my district and people want to know what is going on. I mean, it's embarrassing, the whole program. But to change to get away from the THC level taxing, what's that impact going to be to tax receipts from cannabis overall?
So one, I think that the movement from the THC tax to a price-based tax will be an incredibly important simplification of the tax because, especially for cannabis growers who are selling cannabis flower, every batch has to be tested, and the testing is really expensive, hard to get, and unreliable, and so that makes the taxing really unpredictable.
Don't they they have to label the THC content
they do,
on it?
right,
Like
absolutely.
liquor has a proof on it, so that still has to be appropriately labeled. So
Absolutely.
why isn't it taxed on, just simply taxed on what it's labeled as? And if there's periodic testing and it proves to be different, then you change the label and the tax level changes.
I think that's, I think I made that argument in a hearing on cannabis in November, but I also recognize that the testing is very difficult to get, and it's incredibly expensive, and then we know that it's not very reliable. So that combination, I think, is not a great way to administer taxes. And we have the opportunity to, that was the original idea when we first legalized adult use cannabis in New York. And we've had a few years of experience and have the opportunity to move to a different tax structure. I think that now's the time to make that move as the legal industry is getting going. And, I think that in terms of the revenue,
I think changing before we really have the market established doesn't make sense. I mean, there was a reason it was put in the first place. But I want to move on from the cannabis in the remaining time I have on taxes on manufacturers. And I forget how many years ago it was, 6, 8 years ago, we eliminated the franchise taxes on C corporation manufacturers. And there's proposals out there that I have and others have to eliminate that on the pass-through entities, whether it's a partnership, an LLC, subchapter S corporation. Have you looked from your perspective as Commissioner of the Tax Department, what impact that would be and how could that feasibly be done to give a further break to the smaller manufacturers in the state? Because my understanding is they make up like 75% of the manufacturing entities in the state, and we certainly, I think, want to foster manufacturing in New York State.
Well, certainly, I think we see the changes in the patterns of business formation over historically from C corporations as new businesses are increasingly structured as flow-through entities. I'm aware that there are proposals to try to bring the same kind of tax relief to flow-through manufacturers as we have for C corp manufacturers. At the tax department, that makes us nervous, and that's because it's hard to tell what's a manufacturer, and it's hard for us, from where we sit on a tax filing, to determine whether that entity was a manufacturer or not. We have a little bit more, the group of C corp manufacturers is at this point fairly well understood, but the flow-through manufacturers is a much more unwieldy pool. And so if we're going to move in that direction, I would encourage the legislature to consider working with the SD to have certified manufacturers. And if we have certified manufacturers, we have people with expertise and, able to determine whether this entity is a manufacturer
Yeah, no,
that should
I
get
think
a
that can
tax
definitely
break.
be done. So, but thank you. I think we should prioritize our manufacturers.
Thank you,
Base of
Commissioner.
our economy. Thank you.